welcome to Geekism, and welcome back to Planet Zoo in our little sort of mini Barnyard series. We're back. We had the cows going in last time, and today we're looking at all those chickens. And yeah, the Sussex chicken it is. Apparently the species of chicken. Who knew? Yeah, Sussex chicken looks like a chicken to me. I don't know. I was first of all trying to figure out how these new walkthrough things worked. Turns out you have to have a path through them and the hand cleaning things, and then they go in. And basically the way it works is they go in and then they branch off the path and then they go back to the path and then they leave again. So it works quite well once you figured it out. But yeah, it's a little vague. I had to like really play around with it to figure it out, but got there in the end, and then instantly just kicked everyone out of the zoo because even with the lowest cap that you can put on the place, which is 500, when all you've got is half a dozen cows and 20 chickens, a lot of people want to see the chickens. And, you know, really, this kind of space is built for 10 to 15 people being in there at once, and about 100 ended up going in and most likely trampling over chickens. So you'll see them here, but next time I unpause, they'll get kicked out. And you know, hopefully once it's finished and we have all of the barnyard animals in here, and we can then open it back up to 500 guests, and they'll disperse a bit more. You know, they'll be a little bit more diluted, because at the moment the poor chickens got a bit too much going on for them. So was really torn how to build the chicken area, to be honest with you. What I didn't want to do is go for a very sort of traditional North American chicken coop. I say traditional, the sort of, you know, the one that you think of when you think of like themed chicken restaurants, that kind of thing. And also didn't want to have a huge building as well. So I googled it for a little while, and I found this, which is actually one that you could sort of purchase for yourself at home, but it's quite a big one. It's a pretty industrial model, but it is one technically that you can go and get for your own home. And I thought, well, that's perfect, because this is the kind of place, you know, this is a sort of budget sort of family fun farm, you know, play area and farm and a hedge maze, that kind of thing. It's sort of place where they probably would just have a few of these, you know, and this would probably be it. So I think it worked perfectly, and so we end up building one of them and then copying it and moving them around. And I think it works out just about right for the scale and budget of the place. So happy with how it turns out. And honestly, just because of having as much time away from zoo, not as much as Planet Coaster. First of all, thank you to all of the awesome feedback on the Planet Coaster returning to the channel. It's great to see you all. So while we haven't been away for quite as long in Planet Zoo as we have in Planet Coaster, it's still a case of having to relearn all the stuff, knowing what you're able to do with the pieces, you know, knowing what you can get away with. The scale is a lot better in Planet Zoo. There's much better, smaller options for this kind of thing. You know, planks, you can see here we have a lot of different small sizes of planks and beams and what have you. So we are able to do this at a much better scale. But even still, having to sort of relearn what possibilities there are, what options there are, especially for little things like door handles and things like that. There is actually a hinge, which is amazing. So I was able to put a hinge on the doors there, which looks great. So yeah, really happy with how this came out, and I'm also really happy with the foliage that we do on this one as well. I really sort of pushed myself to do some good foliage. I actually originally had quite light foliage in here, not in the chicken but in the cow one, and felt it was fine, but honestly just need to get back into the Planet Zoo mindset, and actually, you know, foliage is a real important part of it, and it needs to be a lot more dense and a lot more varied. So we go back, and after doing the chickens here, we have another pass at the cows as well, which I think there's footage of here. One of the main reasons I did this was I was watching Leaf, an awesome creator who's doing some beautiful stuff in Zoo, like really out of this world stuff. Makes this all look crap, to be honest, but you know, please still watch this. But also, if you don't already, go and watch Leaf's stuff. He's doing an awesome sort of mini series called Stardew Zoo or Stardew Farm. I think honestly he doesn't quite know what it's called, to be honest, but it's Stardew themed. The buildings are all sort of based around buildings from Stardew Valley, the game, and then obviously he's using the barnyard animals, and it's just beautiful. And I watched it, and it absolutely filled me full of inspiration. It made me come back and redo the foliage in this habitat. Also, it's very difficult not to just copy it, honestly. So obviously, the plan is for this park to be the barnyard animals and veg and all that sort of stuff as well. I was planning to do like a veg garden in this, but yeah, it's really difficult not just to be like, oh, let's just redo what Leaf's done. So yeah, well worth going and watching and having a look, but yeah, really awesome stuff. And he made me I feel like that fencing we had there was most likely not permanent, but he was the one, like, watching his video made me go, yeah, we need to come back and have another go at this fence. So here we have a nice sort of stone fence with a little bit of stone trimming on the edge of it, and then we sort of start cutting in with all of these beautiful bits of foliage. Having gone back to Planet Coaster and realizing just how little options there are, made me just really appreciate how incredible the foliage in Planet Zoo. And it makes more sense, that the zoo game has a better handle on foliage. Not only are there lots more options, there's lots more scale in each of the options, small, medium, and large for the most part in all of them. They're much better proportioned for the game and for the animals, but also they're named. Like, it's not, if you look at the Planet Coaster one, I didn't quite realize this from so long ago, to be honest with you. If you look at the Planet Coaster one, there's just like green bush, and you're like, well, that's great. Whereas here, it's actually called, the type of bush that it is or whatever, and it really helps pick stuff out. And yeah, so the Planet Zoo foliage tool is incredible, and because of that, I think we should use it and realize that it's incredible. So this area probably ends up a little bit more denser with foliage than I originally thought, and probably it's a little bit denser than it would be in real life with foliage, because chickens just constantly pick and peck and scratch until there is nothing but sand left. So it does end up pretty sandy here. You'll see we're using that beautiful invisible path. Oh god, invisible path, amazing. So we are able to just do the pathing using dirt, and we try and make it so that it all ticks all the boxes. And obviously a lot of sand and a lot of dirt in here, so it does end up quite sandy, which is good. But yeah, probably it's a little too dense with foliage really for this to be believable. It would just be picked to death by these chickens. But still, we're just making a pretty looking park here for the new animals. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. We take the fence around the back. That big bamboo wall there, by the way, total placeholder. There's going to be a building that goes onto this. I'm planning on doing like a farm shop that sells the eggs, basically. So a little sort of food outlet that has signs up outside saying, fresh eggs and all that. That's basically what the plan is going to be there. So the bamboo wall is completely there as a placeholder. There's not going to be bamboo there, don't worry. So there we see, that's the end of the chicken one. We'll do some glamour shots of it in a moment, but first of all, you can just see coming back in and just doing a little bit more work, just giving it the attention that it really deserves in the cow area here. Although it does make it too much. The cows do not want much foliage, so do I go back and try and find the line so that it's right? Probably. I like the animals to, as far as the game is concerned, be happy, so we probably will go back and figure this out. The other thing I didn't do was turn off breeding, and there ended up being about 50 cows in here. We sell most of them, and look at them all there. At the end of this video, we sell most of them and get back to a normal number of cows. There should only be like 4 or 5 in there, to be honest with you. Chickens, I don't mind there being quite a few of. They obviously, take up a lot less space and a lot less resources. So yeah, lots of fun building chickens. In the next one, well, like I say, we're going to do a farm shop and maybe something like a donkey or something like that. Really just using this series, one, to be able to see all of the barnyard animals, but also just to kind of get back into the vibe of Planet Zoo, to maybe look back at going back to one of our bigger projects like Nunu Kanata. That's the end goal. We'll see if we get there or not. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give us a like, and don't forget, if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe and all that. And also, go and check out some of the other content. A lot of people always ask me how they can support Planet Zoo and Planet Coaster on the channel. Honestly, it's by checking out some of the other stuff as well, so that the channel doesn't just drop off in between Banco and Plan Zoo. I would strongly recommend checking out Foundation. It's an incredible little settlement builder that has a lot of creative elements that I think a lot of you will dig. Yeah, thanks for watching. Until the next one, be good.